That's the best part. Which I make my own chocolate. Like I'll take that lock of class and make some maple. Coconut oil. Honey. Sometimes cinnamon. Just mix it up and use a spoon.
Okay, fantastic. All right.
Good for chocolate. That's not for candy. Yeah, that's not candy.
Good evening, everyone. Fantastic to have you. And your name?
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou. Very nice. Joseph.
Hi, Joseph.
Wonderful. So I know we have someone in the restroom. Val coming? I don't know if that one's going to be here, but we can bring her in. Fantastic. So, okay. I am, like I say, just ready to get started, to get moving forward. This class is one of the really amazing optimization classes that I've been teaching for about 3 years now. When it comes to metabolism, body function, energy levels, detoxification, everything boils down to what we call metabolism. So many people want to believe that we actually have this thing in our bodies that burns like a furnace, and we just throw fuel in like you do a log fire, and it's just supposed to take care of things. Metabolism is a much more intricate process, and you can have control of it. A lot of people think or feel like what they are feeling today or how their body is representing is something that has to stay in this mode all the time, and that's not true. You have perfect control of this whole system. It just takes a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of tweaking, and then you can start getting the best out of your own body. So that's where I really love this class, because a lot of people come away from today having some effects that they can start doing tomorrow and actually seeing their bodies switch around, the body change over, and feel so much better. So this is a really beautiful intro for some people, but for a lot of people, you're going to really catch on quick that this has some of the ties to a lot of the other classes, but just focused in a much different way. So I love our space that we get to have here each week. The way we start a class on Thursdays is we actually go through a little bit of a functional breathing exercise. Our functional breathing exercise gives us the ability of taking a very long 7-second inhalation, full lungs, and then 8 seconds of breath out, all the way out. And we'll do that twice. That'll be 30 seconds. And then we'll breathe just normally, very calm, very relaxed. And we're not going to turn the Vitamix on?
Huh?
No, we're good? Okay, fantastic. And then we'll just do 30 seconds of normal breathing and then go on with the rest of our evening. So I love for people to get this chance to just take a moment, take a break. You're really wanting to focus on the diaphragm muscles that are right here at the bottom of the rib cage. That's what's so important to keep active. And this is a place where I really want everybody who might be following online, feel free. Go ahead and do this at home. If you're catching this on YouTube later, if you have questions, email me at brilliancenutrition@gmail.com. That way you can kind of hear a little bit of this and work on it a little bit differently. But everybody here, we'll go ahead and take a very long breath in. Nice big full lungs, and then 8 seconds of breath out. And you want to go all the way down where technically nothing's left. Fantastic. 7 seconds of breath in. Nice big full lungs. 8 seconds of breath out. All the way down. And then just 30 seconds of normal breathing. We'll get on with the rest of it. Fantastic. All right. So the way I like classes to be is for them to be informative, hopefully functional, and for people to ask questions when they don't understand, because that way it goes home with you and it's not a, what did he say about that thing that I can't quite remember, and now you're wondering how I made this impact. I like for each class also to have what we call a mindset change. I like for something to be a little different about you after you get through with being here and know that there is a relationship that I'm trying to build with people. Every Thursday, if you're here pretty routinely, you'll gain a ton of information, and it'll be as effective as anything else that I know of when it comes to reading, going to different conferences, talking to people online, getting good research data, good information. And that's where I love this process, because it really does make me feel better about helping others go through this process. So our mindset change, the reason why I'm doing this class is that a lot of people are stuck in a very consistent routine pattern. And then what's unique is they will have an issue with the result and still go back to do the pattern. So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing routinely or repetitively and expecting it just to change or have some sort of difference, just because you will it or think it, and that's a little different here. So when it comes to metabolism, a lot of people have been waking up, having, some time in the restroom or having breakfast, drinking some coffee, going through their day, eating exactly the same way, exercising kind of the same way typically, and they have not done anything different to get something different out of their body. So variety is key. You have to find how to unlock your metabolism. That's the most important piece here. It may not happen right away if you keep doing the same repetitive processes every single day, all day long. You need to figure out how to play this beautiful instrument known as the human body in your own way to make it great. So here's how this process can be very beautifully assisted, though. We have a wonderful complex of materials available to our body through food, typically. But one thing that we find is that a lot of people need a little bit more of different things called B vitamins. And the reason why B vitamins are so impressive or so important, when we first developed the concept of the microscope, B vitamins were actually one of the very first things that we kind of understood about the blood and the fluids in our system, besides knowing that there were cells there, and we didn't quite know what B vitamins were one of the first nutrients that we discovered. And it's unique because it really gave us this concept that there was something different going on inside our bodies that we didn't quite understand, and biology and the study of metabolism really became a very beautiful science. So we really want to go in and try to understand how most people are thinking right now today on B vitamins and why we want to change things up and get something different out of our life. So everybody here heard of or understand a little bit about the concept of B12? Everyone heard that number? Everyone kind of knows that one. We've at least talked about it. You've got an energy drink that has B12 in it, or you've gone to a spa and had a B12 shot, and you're like, yeah, this is what good metabolism is. It makes a very big difference in the process of the human body that you have the proper B12 supplement. So there's something out there called methylcoavalin, which is a very beautiful B12 that's designed to go into the human body and be absorbed properly. And that's one of the biggest keys as to a lot of people where they go, yeah, I've had a B vitamin, it's in my multi, I don't feel anything different, B vitamins must not work. It's really not anything about the B vitamin not working, it's the fact that it's in the wrong form to get inside your cells and be functional. So this is a very key critical piece. Most B12 supplements, most B12 vitamins, injections, things that are out there are a lot of times the non-methylated form, which means they're not absorbed very effectively inside the human body. Very key critical piece is to get out of that process. And if you're a person who's taking B vitamin injections, ask the person, is this a methylated B? Is this something that am I getting my money's worth for what I'm spending? And can I, if not, tell me what the price is, and you'll find out real quick. The price is usually triple if you want the actual good material that will go inside your body and do its function. But it's more, again, one of those things, if you're putting forth the effort, How do we get the best? Let's really let the best happen here. Now, a lot of people think of B12 as just an energizer. It's this concept where, oh, I take B12 because it gives me energy, and that's why most people have heard about it. But B12 actually works in a very unique way, and it's almost what I would call the captain or the leader of metabolism inside the body. It's the one that kind of regulates a lot of other functions, your ability to exchange oxygen, your ability to hydrate. It tells certain enzymes to go inside cells. It actually helps and assists hormone absorption. It actually does detoxification. It works in a lot of different ways. So when you're deficient in B12 and you don't have enough B in your body, you're going to be losing out on the processes that you need to keep yourself extremely healthy. That's the most important key here. Yes, it might make you feel like you can run 100 miles. Yes, it might actually get you up out of bed a little bit faster. That's all great and fine and grand. It's really on the cellular level when it comes to metabolism. It's so important because it leads the whole symphony of the way that you digest food. And it really breaks us out. Does anyone here know something that our body breaks down for fuel?
Calories.
Carbohydrates. Well, calories is a way of thinking about it, but carbohydrates, I like that. That's an actual fuel material. Anybody else? Any other fuel items our body works with?
Fats.
Fats, lipids. There's a lot of energy inside those lipids. They need to be broken down. Glucose or sugars is another thing that's just essentially complex carbohydrates or just simple sugars wrapped up. Starches can be broken down by the human body eventually into sugars. And again, protein. We still do get energy from proteins as well as other different components that help our metabolism work. But as we said before, it's not a furnace. It's not a calorie thing. There's no burning. Calories is what happens when you take a piece of food, put it over top of an open Bunsen burner flame, and then warm water above it and go, aha, it has this many calories. And someone thinks for some reason that's equivalent to what happens inside your body. There's no flame in here. There's no furnace. It doesn't burn. There's nothing like that. There's enzymes. It's an enzymatic system. It's a hormone system. And in fact, your digestion, the way you break food down, is the same as your immune system and how it actually fights microbes. It takes whatever it is and busts it and breaks it down to smaller and smaller bits until you get the small molecules your body needs, like magnesium or sulfur or B vitamins. You can pull B vitamins out of food. So your body is there to take the big pieces and keep slicing it and breaking it and cutting it and tearing it apart until eventually you get the little component that you want out of it. Everything else, all the stuff that helped get that particular component, the B vitamin in here, that's all waste. That's all what we have to detox. That's what our cells are struggling with in order to try to keep ourselves healthy, is all the packaging that goes on to get something inside our body for you to absorb. So when you're taking this B complex and you want B vitamins in here, there's not a lot of packaging that goes on inside this container in order to get this B vitamin inside your body. Technically speaking, beet juice, goji berries, baobab, spirulina, all these, they have B vitamins too. There's a lot more packaging on those because there's food. Most of it's usable. Whole foods are a lot more usable. But the idea is that when you're bringing in fortified nutrition, vitamins and minerals added to the food, usually they're just spraying that on with a hose. It's just water that has a nutrient like this put on top of it, and then they say, oh, that's fortified, instead of it actually being truthfully healthy. It's something that you're not getting anything better in terms of nutrition, and a lot of times it's unusable as well too. So it's really key to and I think to really begin with B12 as an understanding foundation block. It's in there, it's doing the traffic signal direction, it's telling things to move in, move out, it's helping guide the whole process. Really, really key critical piece. Now, then we get into some things like B7, biotin. B7 has this really unique place inside our bodies. It actually allows for the breakdown of things like proteins and fats and the storage of molecules like amino acids, different types of hormones. It begins the process of developing hair, skin, and nails, connective tissues. And technically speaking, you're just one big pile of pretty connective tissues all wrapped up around the skeleton. That's what we are. So biotin is very critical, and a lot of people are really deficient on biotin because this B vitamin is not found in a lot of natural or preserved or inorganic foods. It really takes biotin is what actually keeps the outside of a blueberry to be an outside of a blueberry. There's biotin in there. That's what makes it hold its shape and not just deflate down into nothing. When you dehydrate a grape, it loses biotin to turn into a raisin. That's the relationship of understanding the two. Biotin's the grape, and the raisin is actually having biotin be broken down by dehydration. So it's unique that we can understand a little bit about how and why our bodies sometimes, as we get quote unquote older, feel like the raisin and not so much the grape. That's what we're trying to get back here by using B vitamins in order to enhance metabolism.
Well, when it breaks it down, does it destroy the biotin, or does it just?
It can.
Oh, it does. So if you eat a raisin in comparison to a grape,
correct,
you're not getting the nutrition.
Correct. In that one component, yes. That's very true. Now, what's funny, of course, the grape, all that water, has a decreased concentration of resveratrol. So when you do dry it out, you actually get a little bit of a concentration of things like vitamin C and resveratrol. So it's not that raisins are bad guys, okay? They're not, but there is a unique relationship there. And yes, that is part of that process where we want the most nutrition into our bodies. Eating a bunch of grapes, although it might make nice in the idea of being a Roman emperor or something like that in a movie, it really isn't the solution that we have found works best for everybody. We're going to have to go a little bit further up, superfoods. We start looking for things like camu-camu schizandra berry, goji berry. These have the same B vitamins that grape does, but actually a much greater concentration of them. So it's really beautiful to kind of understand this. And a lot of people, like I say, biotin gets destroyed by things like aluminum, mercury, nickel, lead, a lot of heavy metals, and it actually gets taken apart by a lot of plastics. Biotin is really essential to link things together and connect materials together. So if there's a plastic molecule in the way, if it's a toxicity compound and your skin needs to stretch, it's not going to stretch anymore. It's not going to have that really good vitality, that really good elasticity that we want. It's going to be more brittle. It's going to be broken up. It's going to have issues. And so we're going to see that process, kind of understand it. And that's where I really want people to know how this condition really works. That biotin, the other thing that I love to tell people about understanding how important biotin is, the entire lining of everything from your mouth all the way down through the digestive cavity is full of biotin. Most of our Crohn's disease, IBS, IBD, all these irritations, these allergenics to foods, things like that, the glyphosate, the different types of chemical compounds, the pesticides, the plastics, the tars, the resins, the preservatives, everything going through this beautiful system here, trying to be digested, stops the ability to heal those connective tissues, makes it non-flexible, gets it to where it starts having holes, or what we call leaky gut. And we really want to see something like biotin come back in good concentration to make us heal again. Really, really important B vitamin for good health inside our human body. All right, so B12, controlling the whole game. B7, linking it all together so it stays together and it actually keeps yourself healthy, plump like a grape, not like a raisin. That's what we're looking for. And now we understand something like niacin. So anyone here love niacin like I love niacin? I love niacin. Niacin's awesome. If you haven't had the experience of doing a beautiful relationship with niacin, I highly suggest you figure this one out. Niacin is this great activator. It's actually a molecule that activates your circulatory system. It activates your lymph system. It gets a lot of your nerve fibers to finally start flushing and getting your body to work with you for detoxification. So it's a really beautiful B vitamin that when you're deficient on it, your body doesn't want to give up all of the junk, all of the toxicity molecules. It really doesn't want to let go of anything. So this is the hoarding sort of issue that our bodies have. They're holding on to bad compounds, and you're feeling terrible waking up each day being chock full of all of these irritants. And niacin will start allowing your body to let go of some of that material. It'll start conducting that process. So just like B12 conducts the energy in and metabolism and really keeps the show going, niacin's kind of the guy standing over by the curtain and telling, stage left, stage right on everybody who's going in between acts and really helping. Because during the day, if you're using niacin, you're actually going to be flushing, you're going to be sweating, you're going to be moving material out of your body. At night, if you've got great niacin, your liver is going to be pulling material away from your blood. It's going to be filtering, and it's going to be allowing your system to get ready that next morning to move material out like it's supposed to in order to eliminate material from your body. Because all night long, that liver's just pulling, filtering, and cleaning, and trying to do the best it can during those hours of sleep, especially between 2 to 3 a.m., in order to try to let your body finally detox a little bit. And so if you're not getting enough niacin through your day, and here's one of those funny things. We talked about the grapes. Anyone here ever juice whole Chardonnay grapes? Best niacin containing fruit that we have on the planet. Awesome. Natural niacin coming in. And again, the seeds have a big piece in it. So if you're busting grape seeds.
Most of those really pretty purple.
Really pretty, yeah.
I have them growing.
Mm-hmm.
They're off seed.
Yep. And it's beautiful. You can juice those right down and literally get a beautiful flush of the niacin material. Non-flushing niacin is like the non-methylated B12. Doesn't work. Doesn't help you. It's not giving you the effect that you want inside the body. It's not allowing for the detoxification process to happen. Yes, you will walk around like a beautiful Christmas Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer beat for the entire day that you're taking niacin because it flushes your body out. But you want that process if you know you've got a lot of material stuck in and you're trying to eliminate it anyways. So detoxification programs that don't involve niacin, that don't bring good B vitamins back in to have their function, they're missing the 8 ball on trying to understand how to get you back into good health. So there's really, really good focus on trying to get, especially things like niacin, back in the body. Really helping activate and letting things get flushed away and move your system through. So it all boils down to B1, thiamine. The one we literally said, I don't know, biological agent 1. That's what it was, titled whenever we came up with the B vitamins. It was in the blood, like we saw it, and now we've got to figure out a way to go through. And they never came up with anything more creative than B1, and B3, B5, B6, B12, all of these. They just kept going right down the list. And there's actually a lot of B vitamins that we don't even have names for, that no one knows about, that aren't even kept inside stores. One of the beautiful ones is B17. Very few people understand or know much about B17. But if you're in that health paradigm, you're loving B17 because it's actually a great metabolizer, fantastic immune stabilizer, really good anti-tumor function, and a very, very beautiful.
The apricot seeds?
Apricot kernels, that's exactly right. There's a great concentration of B17 in apricot.
I have several of them.
So, yeah.
So I just crack them and eat how many of them.
They're good food as much as you possibly can. Like I say, it's one of those you can, like any nut, seed, anything you eat, you can have too much. But start off with a good handful, do half a cup or so and start seeing how your body is feeling. The other really funny place for B17 is something called millet. Tiny little seed grain that people can have for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And it's actually a great B17 drug. So we haven't written the book and essentially got all the answers even down yet for what we don't even know about the human body and how it operates. But there is a lot that we can understand and a lot that we can work. Thiamine is one of these crazy nutrients that most people who are having diabetic concerns, liver concerns, a lot of brain issues in terms of headaches, migraines, a lot of issues inside the nervous system, you're missing out on thiamine. Thiamine is the main metabolizer of releasing ATP energy and causing your cells to not keep in toxicity molecules. Niacin flushes. Thiamine actually does a lot of the metabolism. It's the basic ingredient of what we need that's in there doing the work. So think of it like the worker ants, the worker bees, and remember that B12 molecules out there making sure they're all getting to the right place and doing their job. But the effect of B1 actually being missing from a lot of people is chronic fatigue syndrome, metabolic syndrome, being able to actually have cancers can exist in the body because you're not allowing your cells to metabolize or exchange water properly. The cell wall isn't going to open up and allow for water to flow in and toxicity to flow out. So this is one of these major concerns. And very few people talk about how essential this is, how critical this B1 molecule is for good human health. The funny thing about B1 is it's found in just about every food out there. There's a little bit of B vitamin in almost every single food that we can find. Minus GMOs, which is interesting, but there's another story about how that all comes about. But for some reason, the designed and beautiful food on this planet all has B1 because it assists your body at breaking it down and actually metabolizing. So McDonald's hamburgers, very little B1. Something that actually goes bad in 2 days, like a really good loaf of organic bread, lots of B1. There's good concentrations of natural elements in there, and it self-digests. That's the point, is it's not sitting in you like plastic or pesticide or any of these other materials that never break down. Fake sugars, fat-free this, crazy weird stuff that our body can't digest. Missing the B1, and this component is very critical for us. So when we switch to a whole food diet, when we finally stop eating things out of the microwave, out of the freezer, out of the pantry as much as what we eat fresh fixed food that actually looks like it was just on a tree and alive, we're getting those B vitamins back in, and they're finally having this game, and they're playing well with us. And it's reducing the amount of packaging. So like I say, I love this whole process, and I'm going to take this as one example, because when I thought about this made such perfect sense. This is a bottle of B vitamins, right? So you like B vitamins, huh? Because I just told you all this great stuff that B vitamins do. But you get two options here. Jim, he decides that he's going to walk to REV, come inside and buy the bottle of B vitamins and take it home. Maybe Maddie gives him a bag, but he probably doesn't need it because he's a strong guy, and so he just carries it out in his own hand. So you think of all the packaging, all the material that's necessary for you to take this B vitamin home, very minimal. This is very equivalent to me on the whole food diet, the idea that you're eating natural foods very routinely. You can have this same bottle of B vitamins if you call or go online to Amazon.com. The problem is, when I've done this before, it shows up and it usually has at least one box, about 3 or 4 different layers of different types of styrofoam packing, plastic airbags, little weird stuff, a receipt, and all this, and then advertisements and little flyers and maybe a little magnet for my fridge or whatever that they want to throw in. There's so much stuff on the outside of it. This is where we look at preserved foods. This is where we have the prepackaged, shelf-stable foods that we're trying to deal with all of that extra junk. So do you want to carry into your home very simple packaging, very little byproduct, not a lot of stuff filling your trash can up? Or do you want to do the Amazon thing for every single molecule of nutrition that's coming into your body? And you've got a trillion, actually we're about 7 or so trillion cells doing about 60,000 things every single second. So that's a really tremendous amount. I mean, honestly, you can click all you want on Amazon with the buy one thing, and just keep grabbing. I love Amazon now because it happens so fast that sometimes I think they send stuff before I even buy it. And then I go, oh yeah, I guess I did want that. I don't remember buying it though. But they're really good about keeping and getting stuff in there. But we don't want a lot of the packaging. We don't want a lot of the byproduct. We don't want a lot of that because that's what we have to detox. That's what we have to pull out of ourselves. And anything we put in, anything that goes in the mouth, anything that goes in the water, it has to be detoxed some way, somehow. And this is the way that we want to start understanding keeping ourselves healthful. So, B vitamins, yay, good stuff. Metabolism is enhanced by you bringing in all of the B vitamins. These just happen to be some that are really focused on energy production, detoxification, and allowing your cells to function more effectively. So I'm going to jump forward into something. B vitamins were the first thing we understood about metabolism, the first molecules we were looking at. Now, fast forward to modern era, we understand something called a methyl factor or methylation. This is new stuff. This is stuff that we're just now getting to understand. We're just hearing about it, and it's really amazing to me because the methylation system is actually part of the B vitamin system. Most of the B vitamins have methyl groups, and our body creates methyl groups in order to carry them around. But that's what these guys, this power of methylation, this really amazing process that the human body is taking on, is actually giving you what I call the UPS system, the FedEx system of the human body. It's carrying packages from one side, usually out of the digestive cavity, to the rest of your body, to your brain, to the other parts of your blood system, your vascular, helping build everything, allowing for all the parts to be delivered to exactly where they need to go. Each individual cell of your body uses about, for a vegan, about 1,300 units of methyl groups per cell per day. And if you're a person consuming meats, it's about 1,800. So it's not that the vegans essentially get off and thinking that they're perfect and everything works out, well for them. Both systems have byproducts. Both systems consume methyl groups. The unique place here is that a lot of times what we're not seeing is the input of additional methyl groups because we've got extra toxicity, we've got a lot more stress, we've got a lot of different compounds that our body can't break down, and we're not getting a lot of the nutrients into our system to keep our cells very healthy. So these methyl groups start going down, 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 and then eventually you get to something to where we give you a blood test and we say that you are MTHFR heterozygous or homozygous or whatever they want to do in this particular genetic testing. When they do that testing, what they're saying epigenetically is that you have lost methylation capabilities. You're not as good at that job anymore. You may have been born pretty well with it, and if we start testing a lot of infant newborns and things like that for methyl groups, they'll probably test pretty well. Toxicity, stress, lots of issues inside our nutrient levels shuts down the methyl cofactors and makes it to where it's really hard to get the body to keep healthy. So how do we boost methyls? How do we get them back in the body? Things like MSM, methylsulfonylmethane, things like TMG, trimethylglycine, and really understanding how to get your methylated vitamins back in means once the vitamin's delivered, well, there's a hanging out leftover methyl group just waiting to do a job. It's looking for work. It's wanting to go do something, carry more packages around and do its system. So the more methylated foods, natural foods, or methylated vitamins, your body has more to work with, and that's a great system here.
So you say that these are the methylated group?
Correct. Correct. Exactly. So it's really important to understand that you're trying to add in these cofactors to help keep your body as functional as it possibly can be. You don't want to have everything inside your vascular system looking like LA traffic on the 405 to the 101. Terrible time. Not fun. I don't know if you all sit there very often, but I don't like that drive. I like things more like the 40. If you've ever gone out the 40 and tried to drive east, it's beautiful. You see 3 cars every hour, you wave hi to them, and you just love life because there's nothing in your way. This is, I think, the beautiful relationship of having good methyl groups carrying everything exactly where it needs to go, no issues. If you drive up to the Ontario International or down to San Diego Airport, and you watch the planes just taking in, going, that's a good functioning system. There's not a lot of loss. Hopefully you don't see a big ball of fire all of a sudden come in. That's not working, not functional. We want things to be moving around. That's the most important place. Stagnant material causes more health concerns. So we really want to understand the power of this methylation cofactor. Getting the blood test and knowing what's going on in your body is phenomenal. Having the fear that comes away from it that's irrational and actually something that you can totally change tomorrow, not really functional. So it's interesting when people come to me and they start talking, they're I just got the test and I found out that I'm heterozygous for MTHFR, and I look at them like, do you even know what that means? And they go, no, but the doctor was just, what do I do? Calm down, have some MSM, life will be okay. It's beautiful the understanding that we have now, because even though these are brand new to kind of our understanding for health and nutrition, they have been studied through science for a long time, 30 or 40 years, pretty intensely. And we knew that this was one of those issues we were having as a society. We were getting less and less functional with these particular compounds.
Excuse me.
Yep.
All right, when you have a blood test, do you ask for a specific type of blood test, or do all blood tests give you the
No, not at all.
question or the answer that you don't have do you want us to have?
Right. No, not at all. Yeah. Methyl testing is actually more on the idea of like a 23andMe or a genomic testing. So you're looking at your genes and the way that your DNA is showing up right now. So in the standard like CBC that you go into your general practitioner, they have no routine testing on that. You really have to ask for it. And they can do a really quickly blood draw and they can test your methyl cofactors. And they'll show up as, hey, you've got an issue or you're doing fine. Everything's all right today.
So I can actually ask for that.
Yep, you can ask for the MTHFR test onto your blood panel, or just go through a testing like 23andme.com. They're a really good, comprehensive website for doing all of the actual cofactors in the genes and everything that we've been researching. So 23andme.com is a great place, or you can just ask your doctor for the MTHFR.
MTS.
MTH.
Oh, MTH.
FR.
FR.
Takes about 3 seconds to figure out what that stands for. Val, did you have a question?
No, just we didn't know the letters.
Yeah, MTHFR. Yep,
You went too fast. I'm thinking, boy, this
always ask me questions. There we go. That way we can all know what's going on here.
So we can bring our blood test back and then you'll tell us what we need.
Of course. Yeah, there's a great way to understand that. I'll break this down for you really easy. Like I say, make sure they test your vitamin D too if you're going to go in soon. That's a very critical piece.
Because if you don't go out in the sun much, right?
Yeah, well, again, we don't even have the sun really to help us anymore. The sun's not in the right spot.
So if you're in the sun and you're not taking vitamin D, but
that's where we can bring it into the body in one of the best ways here as a liquid. Really good supplementation. Very helpful.
Now, did you say the apricot kernels to eat or dried
Yep.
apricots are fresh?
The kernels. There isn't a lot in the flesh of the actual apricot, but it's in the kernels.
But it's inside of the seed.
Correct.
And it's really hard.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, sprouting them helps. You can sprout them.
Okay.
Yeah, that
And
helps.
just water.
Or you can turn it into a nut butter. Apricot kernel nut butter tastes like raspberry pie.
Oh
my
goodness.
Seriously
Soak them
delicious.
in water.
Yeah, you can sprout them like that. So here's the interesting space about understanding the two parts we just talked about. If you're metabolizing better because you have adequate B vitamins, great. If you're able to move things around more effectively because you have ample methyl groups, you really are starting to understand your metabolism and how it's going to work for you. Now you've got to do something with it. The unique thing about the human body and the beautifully designed machine that it is, it's really, really efficient. Meaning if you aren't doing something that's stressing your system, your body isn't going to change to try to address it. So you can imagine that if you are the type of person who's trying to invigorate your metabolism and you're sitting on the couch watching people exercise on TV, that doesn't really mean the same thing as what you're trying to get out of your system. You got to get moving. You got to try to find whatever form of exercise is necessary for yourself. And I don't care if this is the idea of you literally stepping up 3 stairs at a time and stepping back down 3 stairs at a time and doing that 5 times an hour and saying, hey, I got some exercise in today. That is exercise. Anything you do is exercise. It doesn't have to be Chuck Norris, crazy in the gym, crossfitting, bodybuilding, weird, whatever people love to do for themselves. You don't have to be a triathlete. You don't have to run marathons. Just move. But understand that it really is a crazy process to where exercise for a lot of people can be difficult at first. If you need to be swimming, if you need to even just have it to where I've got people who are just recently had back surgery or something done with their discs in their spine. And all we do is we hook them up to the TENS unit and we let their muscles act like they're exercising. And we don't even have them moving. But the idea is at least the muscles are doing their job. It starts creating the process for healing. It starts representing the way that the body has to now adapt to the new situation that's happening inside the system. Exercise should be challenging. Like we said before, patterns that you have to where if you're the same person showing up to the gym at exactly the same time, drinking the same amount of water, and exercising the exact same 4 things every single day, it's not exercise anymore after about a week or so. Your body gets used to it. It totally knows what's going on. You can't surprise it anymore, and it will just literally stay exactly where you are at that moment. I'm the type of person when I'm working with somebody and coaching them to where they've been a professional athlete and they've done a lot of marathon running, I'm the first guy that says, go to a rock climbing gym. And they go, what do you mean? I'm in perfect health. I do marathons. I'm in exercise. I'm like, go to a rock climbing gym. And about 10 minutes into it, they're like, I obviously have the weakest body in this whole place. And it's a very different system. Your body has to adapt differently. If you've been a person who loves yoga for a long time, try 2 classes of Pilates a month and see how that feels. It's a very different exercise system. Run out and find a person who does something very unique and very different to you and follow them and have them teach you a little bit about what their process is. Paddleboarding, we've got kayaking, we've got running, we've got so many different things that humans can actually do with their free time that's involving exercise. But know that one of the great things is, and this is where I love working with people healthfully and holistically, your breath cycle is actually one of the easiest things. That thing that we did at the beginning of this class, conscious breathing, that's exercise, believe it or not. If you sit there and did that exact pattern for about 3 minutes, you'd start to sweat. It's hard. It's actually one of those things. You're moving lots of muscles. Your body's trying to keep it together. Breathing is one of these great places to where when we see stress coming into a body, we short breath. We don't actually use our lungs very effectively, and that causes us to not be able to oxygenate, and that shuts down our metabolism. Our cells are so cool that in the presence of oxygen, we produce about 32 to 38 ATP, or the actual molecule of energy. If we stop breathing, we produce 8. So if you're a person who's not breathing effectively, that's the difference between feeling full of energy, 32, and not breathing very effectively, 8. That's the change between a person who actually is getting the most out of their system and feeling phenomenal. So breathing has this great, and I'm a person who I have a breath coach, believe it or not. I've been on this planet a number of years, and the idea is that I've been quote unquote breathing to what I thought to be a great condition for a long time. And the idea is my breath coach breaks me every single time on how I have a bad circular pattern, I don't use my muscles correctly, and when you let somebody really teach you how to properly breathe, you realize everyone's doing it all wrong, and that's why we're a lot of times feeling the way we're feeling. And it is something so silly as, you're just not breathing right. That's why you feel that way. And we can start to change this around and get our bodies into much better function. The whole point of this conversation, why we're talking about this in this class, is that you want to take a zone, what's called distress, and make it into a zone of eustress. Distress is hard, it's challenging, it's frustrated, you throw the golf club, you get angry, you walk out of the gym because you can't do the exercise, you tell your friend, I'm never doing spin ever, why'd you ever quit? The idea is it's hard for your body at first, and then your body gets used to it and it becomes eustress. It becomes that point to where you can be running a marathon, 26.2 miles, and it literally just feels like you're out for a little stroll. Like nothing else is going on with your day. You've been running for 4 to 5 to 6 to 12 hours, and yet, you're just using your pace. You're just running. Anybody else who's sitting on the couch thinks that's the hardest thing I'll ever have to do. So it's funny because I'm talking about a lot of this because I'm getting ready to run the LA Marathon in March. So we've taken on a challenge, and it's been very fun getting myself back into shape and doing a lot of this in order to get myself through the zone. But you want to be challenging yourself routinely. 4 new habits a year means you pick up 1 every 3 months. If that means you're doing a different exercise style, great. If you're just switching trainers, switch trainers. Somebody else has a different attitude about things, they'll go on YouTube if that's the only place where you've got. And you're in your home and you're just switching through, look up people who do different types of exercise and follow their routines and see how it challenges you. But the point of this whole concept about getting your metabolism to be really fortified, you've got to be changing things up. You've got to be stressing the body. And eventually you'll get better at it, and it'll be really amazing. You'll get stronger and fitter and more capable at keeping your body in good health.
Do you consider golfing really an exercise?
Yes, it is. The part between hitting the ball and walking the ball is the most exercise there. So if you're doing the cart thing, maybe not so much. But the idea is that for people who are actually carrying 20 to 30 pound bag of clubs and walking 7 to 8 miles from hole to hole, Yeah, that's where I don't understand the concept, the perversion of golf. I don't get it. Honestly, I like going to the range and just doing the whole swinging part and then going home. That I'm okay with that. But it is one of those places where, yeah, you can, and I mean, I've seen pretty intense people who are actually marathon running their golf, system. It's mainly because their wife says you have 2.5 hours and you have to be home or something like that happened. So they're booking it through that field. But no, it is one of those where anything you're doing, anything movement, just being in the sun is good. It's technically, it's good exercise. Get out of your house, get out of your comfort zone. You'll see a lot of good things change.
Some moving furniture.
Moving furniture helps. Yes. So the other thing that really, really impacts metabolism inside a human body, and most people wouldn't guess it, is your hydration level. Same thing like breathing, not breathing. The idea is that without water, none of those B vitamins work, none of those methyl groups work, nothing you're doing actually does its function very effectively inside the human body. So hydration is actually a very important piece of activating your metabolism. And I know people who, I'll tell them when they first start working with me, 80 ounces of water. And you can literally look at them start sweating like it's already worked just thinking about drinking 80 ounces of water. And it's these people who need it the most on the average. Valerie and I are probably the ones who are like, yeah, a gallon a day. That keeps you in good health. That's part of it. Yeah, it's so important to stay hydrated to that level because it really does make a difference between how activated the individual parts of your body are or unfunctioning. People, again, who are waking up between 12 and 1 and 3 and 4 in the morning, typically chronically dehydrated. And that's the 2 times in your body where your body's trying very hard to get you back to the sink in order just to pour some water in the tank and just to keep you not running on fumes when it comes to hydration. Very interesting relationship here. I don't mind a person who, again, is situationally dehydrated. You've got a rough day, you've been in traffic all the time, you've gone out and done exercise, you forgot. I mean, it happens. You can forget to drink. What I love for people to try to understand is that if you're in chronic dehydration, anybody here actually to that point to where they don't get thirsty anymore? Because that's a unique problem. That means the red light on the dashboard that technically says water, 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 it's either broken, busted, doesn't work anymore, there's no sound, it doesn't light up, or it's just constantly on and the rest of your system just keeps moving right on through. And not being thirsty is actually a pretty sad way of treating your body. So your body needs water. There's no question about it.
I thought you could overdo it though.
You can.
Wasn't there a woman that drank so much water and
yeah. She drank about 12 gallons of water, and there was an interesting issue in that. There was drugs involved, and that's true. Yeah. There are people who actually drink water to the point of quote-unquote euphoria, and they use it to get high. So I'm not kidding. There's people who do it.
I did it when I was training 2 gallons, and it's like the biggest high on earth.
Oh, yeah.
You just lose every ounce of cellulite in your body. I think that's bigger.
There is some function in that. But yes, a lot of people, the problem is that they're drinking purified water or RO water or water with no minerals. And that is what leads us into a condition called hyponatremia, meaning you don't have enough cellular electrolytes to keep your nerves functioning, your heart beating, your brain going, your system working, your lungs functioning. That can happen. That's where people who, like I say, a lot of times you hear of people who are doing things and they've taken an illicit substance and it's caused them to be so thirsty they just keep drinking and drinking and drinking. And I mean, I've heard of people who drank to the point to where they've actually had their stomach or their duodenum burst because there's just too much water. It can happen. But it is one of those where 80 ounces is definitely not that amount. And for most people, when they come to me and they say, oh yeah, I drink a glass. And I'm like, what type of glass? And they go, oh yeah, one of those little like juice glasses, like it's 4.5 ounces. And you're going, yeah, we need to work on this. Or they're like, yeah, I have water. And they're like, I drink coffee and tea and soda. And, you know, when you hear their relationship that they have with water, they don't understand it's not the same.
So you don't go by our size then?
Oh, yes.
So I would drink 80 ounces of water, the same as you would drink it?
You can. It's a goal. 60 to 80 is good. It's for most people.
So
And
I could drink that safely.
oh no, there's no yeah they're not even close.
All right.
Can I add, there is a science to when to drink the water. So I usually try to get 3 of those size in the morning or before I leave my home, and then I take one with me throughout the day, and then one at night just throughout the evening.
Yeah.
And it works. And
Does it keep you up all night?
no, the body will regulate.
The body regulates
when
that.
to go to the bathroom. If you do 3 in the day before you leave, 1 and then 1, it will regulate.
Yeah.
I never wake up then. So.
Would coffee reverse that?
It does. Coffee dehydrates, and it can have issues. Yes, especially the black coffees. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Let's see. Yes, it is one of those where when you're drinking soda, when you're drinking heavy fruit juices, when you're drinking anything that has solution materials in it, it's actually pulling water out of your cells to balance it, and that dehydrates the body pretty extensively.
Okay.
So that's where there's a process. And I agree, a lot of people, when they come to that challenge of drinking water, I tell them 20 ounces in the morning, 20 ounces in the middle of the day, 20 ounces at night. It's a really easy process. 3 times a day, drink water, set a little clock on your iPhone for it. And they get themselves into that pattern, into that recognition, and then they go, hey, I'm feeling better. I'm sleeping better. I'm digesting better. Thank you so much for, and then I say, okay, let's go to 80. And they go, seriously, you're killing me. Why do I have to go more? Because you're trying to take away a chronic dehydration issue. So we really want people to understand that hydration issue. Really, really important.
And one more thing. I went to this thing with firefighters, and they said, you try and be mindful of drinking a glass every hour. You got it made.
Yeah.
And you feel good all through the day.
Yeah.
And I tried what they did every hour, just 1 glass, and it worked.
Pretty nice. Very
Just
nice.
1 glass.
So we really want to stay away from the dehydrated state. Very, very critical for keeping good health, good functional metabolism, and it really allows to get out of a zone where most of your mood issues, sleep issues, digestive issues are cofactors or symptoms of your dehydration. So it's a very, very unique relationship. So now we want to see.
Sorry, I thought the class started at 7.
No.
Okay.
It's okay. But I'm glad you're here
I
now.
just got off work.
So the idea is that we actually want to understand a little bit before we take off that the organs of your body actually has a big function to get energy out of your body as well too. Most people are struggling with a lot of thyroid issues, and they're not understanding how critical and how important the thyroid is for activating your overall energy systems. The thyroid is what wakes you up in the morning. Anybody here the type of person that wakes up like 2.5, 3 minutes before their alarm goes off? That's your thyroid. That actually is sending the cortisol about 40 minutes before that, so that way your body wakes right up because you're so conscious, stressed, concerned about the idea of what if I oversleep. And so you wake up just a couple minutes before and you go, snooze it and forget it. And then you're sleeping another half an hour later. But the idea is your thyroid knows that's the time that you said you want to get up, and it keeps track of things like that. It knows when you take a bite of food to actually start the liver to digest and produce the enzymes and to get the gallbladder to dump bile into the duodenum and mix all of the foods to be digested properly. It's what actually tells all of the hormone cycles, all of the neurotransmitter cycles on how and what they need to do to keep you functional, healthy, happy, and keeping them moving right along. So when you have an underactive or improper thyroid function, it's affecting every other system in your body. And it's definitely a relationship to try to start to heal that out and get it to where you aren't in a low functioning or even high functioning. Doesn't matter. Too many signals all at once, that's a bad day. Too little signals, bad day. You want the thyroid to be balanced, for it to be happy, for it to be healthy. And you can start that process, and it is possible to heal your thyroid no matter where you are, as long as it's still attached to your body. If it's been surgically removed, I can't do anything about it. But we can work on it if it's actually something that you still have. Definitely a piece in this process. Like I was saying before, the liver does so much for you that you don't understand how much of an insult it is to be drinking that night before you go to bed. Your liver is always trying to help you, always trying to help you. And the unique space here is that it does two major pieces. One, it controls your digestion and how well you break food down in the enzymatic process. And then it filters the blood when you're supposedly not eating at night. Again, anybody here who has midnight snacks, that doesn't mean you're getting a very good amount of filtration inside your body because your liver's now back to digestion instead of filtration. But it is a relationship to understand. Your liver is a part of the cleansing process as much as it's part of the digestion process. So a lot of times we see issues in the liver that show up as other body function disorders. Migraines, stomach pains, bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, all the issues that happen later on down the chain are because you did not mix the material out of the liver with the food that you just brought in effectively. And it didn't break down everything that you needed to. So a lot of times we really need to reorganize the liver back into good function, and you'll start to clean the blood more effectively, feel much better, digest better, lose that waistline, everything will start actually tucking in really nice. I don't know if you can, I feel good about my waistline, but it is one of those places where you really need the liver participating. Really, really important. And then I like the whole concept of this class really after the class that we just had regarding the digestive system. Because if you have problems in terms of getting food and nutrients and energy, it's usually going to happen in the intestines. The intestines are there to be the absorptive system, the communicative system, the hydration system of your body. It's sorting out all of the different pieces and letting each different part do its job and be able to get into the system all the nutrition that you're wanting. So when you have bowel issues, inflammatory bowel disease, if you're dealing with constipated issues, any type of food reactivity, allergenic issues, you're not going to be able to help your digestive system do its job. And 96%, 96 to 97% of all of your hormones to keep your body healthy, happy, and functional are made in your intestinal system. So when you're dealing with even hormone issues, it's actually a gut issue. Not a hormone problem, and not something you can solve with a hormone pill. It's a gut issue. So we really want to see how to learn to get our intestines working very effectively and helping us to do this process. Not only like we talked about before, every day, I have a thing we should be eliminating every day to get rid of the stuff that our body is not able to digest and to break down. All that extra packaging has to get sorted out, and that's the way we sort it out. So when this isn't working for you, you're having a ton of issues. We're getting back to that 405, 101 intersection there in LA, and things aren't working very well, and we need to fix that. So that way you can start to feel better, start to metabolize better. Each of these individual items are something where in one class it's tough to go through all of these things. I always try to give you something to chew on, something to go home and think about and figure out to do this whole process. You don't have to start with every single one of these things on this list. That's sometimes impractical for a lot of people. But if you start with just one and really move your way through the whole process, if tonight all you do is go, hey, I got you, B vitamins, okay, cool, let's go. Then the idea is that obviously the B vitamins can be a great support for your body, and you can start feeling more functional as soon as you start allowing this to be a part of your new health plan. But it's a very critical piece to understand that each of these plays an important part. And that's why I try to put things together like this, so you could take this as a guide, go into your life and go, well, I'm not doing MSM right now, I'm barely exercising, I know I don't breathe right, I'm always dehydrated. Okay, I've got some work to do. And there's some self-assessment that can go on here. But if you're a person who actually just wants to start getting the process moving for you, feel free. Leave your name, email, phone number here. Let my office give a call, get you set up. try to work on all the conditions that we might need to start to balance the body. And that's where I get to do a lot of magic, which is pretty awesome, and really help people see changes start to happen once they get focused and get their goals activated for them. So this game, like I say, that we play is one where I like to take questions. We still have the cameras running. That way everybody who's participating is hearing the details. They can hear your questions too, and that helps them learn even more. But like I say, I don't know what questions, especially coming in late, if you have some questions for yourself.
Yeah, the hydration. I try to drink at least, as much water as I can.
Mhm.
A lot of times it's difficult throughout the day, to remember. So you're saying you set an alarm and stuff. That's good. What other tips did I miss? Any?
Well, the big thing was to look at that 60 to 80 ounces goal to start about there and see how you feel once you get to that level.
I definitely notice a difference when I stay hydrated, just everything.
Oh, of course,
Everything.
of course.
Yeah.
And also the understanding that if you're drinking, especially like filtered water, RO water, tap water, something that's been purified or processed chemically, it can have problems. It can actually send you in the wrong direction. I'm not a big alkaline water person. I don't think everyone needs to be drinking 9.5, 10 point whatever alkaline waters. Spring water that's naturally balanced, that has the right minerals, perfect, and very, very important piece.
Another question with that, so I've been making, because I swim every morning, I've been making my own electrolytes with, if you have any tips, I've been cutting a lemon and then a pinch of sea salt, and that's it. I know I should add honey or something, but moringa. Okay.
Awesome.
Moringa. How do you spell that?
MORINGA.
Thank you. And do they sell that here? Oh, perfect. And that's an electrolyte.
It's a protein, it's electrolytes, it's a mineral balancer, it's
Is it
everything you're
that
looking for.
plant?
Plant powder.
Africa or, okay.
Yeah, it's all over the world.
Okay,
Yeah, very good, very awesome
Okay,
thing.
awesome.
Really, really good.
Awesome,
Really
thank
good
you.
donor for everything your body's looking for when it comes to good energy. Any other good questions for this evening?
What's a good count on those B vitamins? I mean, how much would you take?
You know me. My idea is you take it till you feel it. So if a lot of people want to understand the vitamin world in a way to where it says, okay, serving size, 1/2 teaspoon, or technically, one dropper of this material. But then a person will come in and say, hey, I've been doing a dropper for the last 4 weeks. I don't feel anything. What's going on? I say, have you tried 2 or maybe 4? And at first, your body, again, is trying to get out of the zone of deficiency. So 1 may not be enough. But if you get into that place where you can all of a sudden go, hey, I took my V's. I took 3 of the droppers yesterday. I could keep going all through the day. No tiredness. This is awesome. Then you've understood your body a little bit. That's the level where you might need it to. Average person, like I say, what's nice about this methylated B when it was designed, it's got a tremendous level of the B12. And then a lot of supporting levels to get nearly 100% of all the other B vitamins to work this symphony. But since that B12 is really that control system, that one that orchestrates a lot of it, you want it to be everywhere all the time so it's functional. And then you can see. So everybody has a different level, a different need for response. If you get to the point where you're drinking the whole bottle and nothing's happening, the idea is you might want to check your pulse and just humor me on the idea that you're alive. Because even I can't take the whole bottle after about 4 or 5, maybe 6 or so. I'm doing pretty good. But then maybe there is something to where there's an issue inside the digestive system. A lot of pharmaceuticals actually decrease your ability to digest and absorb vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and B vitamins are a big issue in that. So a lot of people who are on blood pressure medicines, thyroid medicines, statin drugs especially, they're going to have a problem here. And they're going to say, yeah, I'm taking that every day. I don't feel any different. And that might be a contributor to that. So sometimes it does make a big difference to go intravenous or to be able to take a B injection, subcutaneous or something like that, and see what sparks you up. Everybody, like I say, really is looking for good energy. And B vitamins are a great place to start. But see how that goes for you. Don't hesitate. You can't overdo B vitamins. They're water soluble. So you can never overtake or have too much B vitamins. All it's going to do when you have too much is color the urine yellow and that's your money going down the drain, so you can use it as best you can. But it definitely is one of those where keep using them in order to feel a good level.
Can you mix it with something, or is it?
I don't. I'm a purist, so the idea is like I want it to go straight underneath the tongue, hold it for 25, 30 seconds, let it all absorb as much as possible. But people will put this in their water bottle, and because B vitamins are good to deliver through the entire day, so you don't lose your energy. That's a nice concept. So if you've got a carrier, then you can put 1 or 2 teaspoons of the B vitamins in the water and carry that with you all day long, and drink a little bit of B vitamins every time you take a swig of that water, like Val does. So that's that nice zone of understanding how to keep yourself in good health. But yes, this is one where some people, like I say, some people wake up and they have great energy, and then they can't see, taking a nap at 11 o'clock in the morning. They're like, what happened? Their cortisol crashed, or their body's just not well supported. So they might need that B support all through the day to feel better, and it can be a great way of understanding that.
The light doesn't affect it, right? If it's in your water bottle, the light doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's got some piece of the breakdown here. It's in a dark colored glass and getting some ambient light through that, but no, it's not going to destroy it or make it to where it's completely non-functional.
So in my water bottle, if that's clear, it's okay.
What about heat?
Oh yeah, heat.
All B vitamins, all nutrients break down in heat. So yeah, you're not going to want to leave it in your car.
Just carry it on you first.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to.
Unless you work in a furnace, yes.
Right. Okay. Right. Unless you're Santa.
Exactly.
Good.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I thank you so much for coming here and spending these Thursdays. I really hope that it's been effectual. It's had some sort of impact, changed the way you think about some things. Hopefully has some effects to the way that you live from this week forward, obviously. As we know, when we come here on Thursdays, anytime you're picking up items, you're going to get 10% off if you take those to the counter and have Maddie check you out and be able to ring that stuff up. I'll turn the cameras off and close everything down real quick. If you have any more questions or need anything, feel free, stick around, let me know, we'll talk. And there is the new schedule for the month of November up on the counter. For anybody who wants to know what the upcoming talks are. So just so you know, we won't be doing a Thursday event on the week of Thanksgiving. I'm going to be enjoying some delicious organic superfood material with my family. I hope you're doing the same thing too. And that way we won't be here on that Thursday. But otherwise we have a great month. Like I say, I have a lot of good detail material and stuff that's going to really hopefully have some more impact for you besides what we did tonight. So thank you. Fantastic. Very nice. Yeah, wonderful.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Years. Okay.